Hello everyone, welcome again. Well, in this video, we are going to look at some more complex implementation of grid. For example, a grid which contain a button inside the column. So in order to handle such type of grid, again I will do some more modification inside our grid helper. Now the approach remains same. First, check for the column is present or not. If you have a column, then look for the special or additional component present inside it. In our case, first I will check whether this particular column is present or not. If it is there, then I will check for the component such as button, text box, those are present or not. So here I will write a private method. Private web element get grid element. Okay, and the parameter will remain same, that is locator, row and column. Now inside this method, first I will check whether the column is present or not. If the column is present, then I will check for the component, and if I am able to component, instead of returning its XPath, I will return a complete web element. Once I have the web element, then I can perform the required operation. So I will put a if else check. So if generic helper is element present, generic helper is element present, I will get the table XPath, that is based on the locator and I'm going to append it with the component. Okay, so if I observe this particular button closely, as you can see here, this is the XPath of that, and I'm going to optimize it. So this will be table, we don't need this. Okay, so we have two matching node with this, so we need to use some additional attribute with that. So I will use grid. So //div @ id is equal to this. So again we have two matching nodes, so let me put as 1. Okay, instead I will use this one for time being. Okay, so we are able to locate the table. So this will be the locator for us. Okay. So this will be the locator, then it will have a T body, tbody/tr td, let's say the first row, and the column is 1 2 3 4th column. So let me validate this XPath. Okay, it is able to locate that column, and inside that we have a /a. So I will just put //a. Okay, so it is able to identify that button. So here this will be our total XPath, which will be provided by this method. Okay, and after that we need to append the component, that is this part. Okay, so this will be the additional component. So here I will use get table XPath, which is going to return us the entire XPath till this point, till this. After that I will append the rest of the component, so //a. And if it is there, then I will just call return driver dot find element, and the same thing. Okay, by dot XPath, here also by dot XPath. Similarly, I can put for input, so this will be input and it will represent a text box. Okay, so this will be else if, or in the end when I'm not able to find the any additional component, then I will return the simply the column. So this will be else, and I will return it only the column. Okay, so first I will check for the column, and after that column I will check for the button. Similarly, I will check for the column and check for any input is there or not, that means text box is present or not. If this both of the condition is false, that means I will just return the column. Okay, okay, so now I can modify my existing get column method with like this. So you don't need all this stuff. I will just comment out this part, and here I will just return the get. Okay, let me make it static. Okay, so return the get grid element. The locator row column remains same dot get text. Okay, it will directly return you the text. So when this method is called, it is going to call the grid element method with this inputs. Inside the grid element, first it will check that with the table XPath, that means this part, do I have a button? If it is not, then do I have a input, that means text field? If not, just return the that column. That means it will just return the column and I can get the text of it. Okay, so now if I want to perform the click action, I will just write a method public static void click button in grid string locator comma int row and int column. The reason why I'm asking user to supply this value is because if I try to put this kind of loop, so I need to just traverse entire grid, that is row and column. That will be very costly operation, although it will perform our task, but that will make our script very slow. That's why it is better to ask from the user that which column contains the button, and the rest will be taken care by the framework. And here again I will just call get grid element locator column dot click. Okay. Now along with this, in this particular method, as I'm printing the value here, instead of doing that, I can return all this value so that the calling method can directly use it. So here I will just make it list, not here. The void will be turned to list and this will be string. So I will just create a list, array list of string list equal to new array list, and instead of printing this thing I will just add it. So this will be list dot add, and I'm going to return this list. Okay, so this list can directly be used by the calling method. So instead here get all values, I will just store this inside a list of string data equal to this, and after that I can print the entire data. So for each string and sys out string. Okay, so I will just run this script in debug mode. So now instead of printing the value inside the method, I will retrieve from it and it will be get printed inside the calling method. So as you can see here, it has printed all the value because now we have hit the debug point, and I will just continue the script. So the script is done. If I look at the console, so these are the value. So now only change is that instead of printing inside this method, I have written the list so that it can easily be accessed from the calling method. So in our next video, I will show you how you can perform the click action inside the grid.